Welcome to I Care, I Volunteer on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Alima Hotaki. Most of us are too busy to find the time to volunteer, so the focus of today's show is on college and university students as well as graduates who somehow manage to find their time in their busy schedules to help others. To kick things off, I'm joined by Ebony Wright, the Coordinator for Community Engagement at Volunteer MBC, Janice Lee, the lead mentor for the Step Up Advisory Panel, and Philip Manzano, who is the Communications Specialist for United Way of Peel. And thank you and welcome to the show, guys. Let's start off things with, are you all currently, you've all graduated?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to address the first question to Ebony. What sort of advice do you have for college or university students in terms of how can they get engaged in volunteering?
Okay, so with Volunteer MBC, we are connected to 180 nonprofit organizations. And so generally, when a student wants to volunteer, they can search for the opportunity one of two ways. So one, we have our consultation that they can do online, or they can feel free to come into any of our locations in Mississauga, Brampton, or Caledon.
And Philip, I heard that you have a very interesting story, but before we get to that, can you also tell me how that you volunteered with a lot of different places,
yes.
Volunteer MBC while you were in school, as well as numerous other organizations. How did those experiences positively impact you?
Well, I mean, I think those experiences were kind of an investment. It did take a lot of time, and my schedule was rather busy throughout my entire post-secondary career, but I've just thought of it as, you know, I'm kind of investing in myself in those time frames. So basically, when I went to a volunteer experience, I was able to gain so much from it. I mean, on top of giving back to the community, I was able to build my leadership skills. I was able to build my communication skills, build my organizational skills, and even network a little bit. So everything that I did, I was able to take away something that I was able to put towards my career in the future. And it's paying dividends right now.
And I guess I always ask this question. Obviously, everybody's really busy. How did you manage in terms of time? I'm sure you had so many other commitments. How did you manage?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are a lot of commitments, especially in that time of your life, but you kind of just learn how to time manage. And being a volunteer, that is a skill that you get to develop quite a lot. When you find something that you're passionate about, you are going to find time for it. And then you're going to develop that skill just out of the necessity because you want it to be a part of your life. So, you know, in a roundabout way, volunteering helped to build the skill of becoming a time manager.
And Janice, you help out with the Step Up Youth Volunteer Ambassadors. You're part of the team, the program. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. For the Volunteer MBC, the Step Up Ambassadors, we created a mentor program, me and their youth engagement coordinator, Linda Pui. And we're called the Advisory Panel, and we engage post-secondary students to mentor the executive team. And through this, it kind of helps both parties kind of, similar to what Phil was saying, take away something from the experience. So the post-secondary students get to apply what they learned and share their expertise and kind of use it as moral support and guidance for the high school students. And then on the other turn, they take away from things as well. They learn leadership skills, organization skills, and they develop themselves as leaders in our community.
And you yourself, how did you get started in volunteering? What impelled you to get involved?
Phil actually recommended that I reach out to Volunteer MBC, and after I did, they kind of talked to me about what I was interested in helping with, and because I had previously developed a mentor program in South Korea, that was something that Shaminda Pereira and Ebony was interested in talking to me about, so that's how it came about.
And Ebony, can you a little bit talk about what do you think about the status of internships or co-op placements? Can they be considered volunteering? Would they fall under that category?
I would say it's yes and no. So yes, generally people do think it constitutes as volunteering because you're giving of your time without direct compensation in return. But no, they aren't because for a co-op placement, you generally do a co-op to fulfill a practice and requirement. And it's part of a hands-on way of applying what you've learned in high school. And at the conclusion of that, you receive credits. And similar to an internship, which is more career-focused, cost, you also receive your diploma after that is completed. And I think sometimes we tend to forget that the essence of volunteering is giving without expectation in return. However, a volunteer opportunity can turn into a co-op experience, provided that the nature of the opportunity is what aligns with the student's program.
And how does Volunteer MBC go about engaging these students? Do you go to their campus? How does that all work?
So right now we have a partnership with the University of Toronto, Mississauga. They have a program, a community engagement program, and we engage groups of students on an ongoing basis with opportunities within our member organizations and with Volunteer MBC. And also any educational institution in Peel that wants Volunteer MBC to come out and do any outreach or share the benefits of volunteering with their students, we're open to coming out and doing that as well.
And Phil, can you share your experience with us?
Sure. Well, I mean, I've been volunteering ever since high school, and it's just been, first it was to fulfill the 40 hours that's required to get your diploma, but you really do find things that you're passionate about, and one thing that I was passionate about was helping other youth that were having a hard time, especially when it comes to the area of poverty. So through this, I volunteered with United Way, but then I also found my way to Volunteer MBC, and there I kind of found a home there. Something really unique about what Volunteer MBC does is within their referral program, not only do you find something that is worthwhile for your volunteering, you find something that you're actually matched to, perfectly. So you're not just volunteering for the sake of volunteering, which I think is a huge mistake that a lot of people do fall into. You find something that actually matters to you, that actually, ignites something within you, which makes you want to volunteer further. So that's kind of what happened with me. I mean, I volunteered with Volunteer MBC for a while. They matched me up to a few things. I started a few initiatives myself, and they helped me find some volunteers. And then I eventually started working with them. And then through there, I found my way to United Way. And the relationship is still just as strong. So I'm really glad that I was able to volunteer with Volunteer MBC because, they really started me on a path that I still find myself on today, and I'm helping other young people by, getting them involved with Volunteer MBC, getting them to find the perfect volunteer opportunity for them as well, just so that they can find something that they're passionate about as well. So,
and I guess my next question, I'll address this at all of you, and I'd like to hear all of you say something about it. But for you, how has this changed you, and what have you learned about yourself through volunteering?
I guess I would generally say for myself, while in university, there wasn't much opportunity to really explore your interest in what you wanted to do because at the time I was doing a double major, so everything was about my courses and my grades. And when I finished university, I knew that I had strengths, but I wasn't sure what they were. So I started volunteering with Volunteer MBC, and I found them on Twitter, and was amazed that there was an organization in Peel that offered all these volunteer opportunities. So I started off volunteering as a volunteer engagement assistant in the referral unit, and through there I realized I had skills that I probably wouldn't have realized I had while taking my courses in the classroom. So I would definitely say that volunteering has helped me to realize who I am as a person, and that's why I continue to this day.
And how about you, Janice?
I think volunteering for me personally is similar to what Ebony said. It helped me realize I had a lot of skills that I didn't put to use, and that I was actually really good at time management because of everything that I dedicate my time to. And just overall, I walk away from volunteering with a lot of, everyone feels good when they volunteer at the same time, but it helps you become a stronger person and more sure of yourself because you dedicate your time not only to helping other people, but you're helping yourself as well.
Yeah, the benefits, the generosity, acts of kindness. And how about you, Phil?
I guess to be a bit different, I guess for me, it's opened a lot of doors. There are a lot of attributes that I've gained through volunteering that I've used towards, becoming or trying to become a success and trying to move forward in my career or whatever path that I'm going towards. So I don't think I would have gotten that if I hadn't.
Sorry to cut you off, but we have to go to break, but we'll continue this conversation when we return. Welcome back to I Care, I Volunteer on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Alima Hotaki. I am now joined by Drew, who is a volunteer that uses his music to make a difference in the lives of others. Welcome to the show, Drew.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm great, how are you?
Good. So can you tell us a little bit about the song you are going to perform for us?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually inspired by my grandmother. She was battling stage 4 cancer. So the moment that I heard about this, I was like, I put everything down and I was like, let me grab a pencil, let me grab paper. And I just started, let the ideas flow, my creativity flow. And then little did I know, I actually created this song.
And how long did it take you to write?
It was actually all in one take. Oh. So yes, I'm surprised myself. When I was writing, I was thinking, of incorporating all of the feelings that I once experienced with her, that I once had when I was with her. So I just wrote everything down, and then it took me perhaps 5 to 6 minutes.
Oh, wow. And is this the song that you mainly perform for others as well, or do you have a list of songs?
I do have a list of songs.
But this one must be a fan favorite.
Okay. I think it would be.
Okay, then you know what, ladies and gentlemen, here is Drew.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's step aside for a moment and tell me what you wanna do. I ain't got much to worry, I ain't got much to ask, but I can be your one and only. So let's make a way through the morning light. Wanna be with you, right there by your side. Even though you might feel like you can't survive, you can count on me, 'cause I will always be here. I wanna love, wanna dance for a moment. I'll never trade this away for a second. I've gotta hug you till I can't feel my arms. Oh, no, I was supposed to be there when you needed. I wasn't sure what to do, but I feel it in my own heart and in my own path of life. So let me be your one and only. You one and only. You one and only. You one and only. So now that I've captured your heart, promise that I won't break it apart. I know I'm far from perfect, but there's a heart in me that is willing to keep you safe and sound. No, so let's make a way up, a way in through the morning light. Wanna be there with you, right up by your side. Even though you might feel like you can't survive, you can count on me, 'cause I will always be here. I wanna love, wanna dance for a moment. I'll never trade this away for a second. I've gotta hug you till I can't feel my arms. Yeah, I was supposed to be there when you needed. I wasn't sure what to do, but I feel it in my heart and in my own path of life. So I can be your one and only. Yeah, your one and only. Yeah, so let me be your one and only.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Did you even surprise yourself when something so emotional and so passionate came out of you?
Honestly, yeah, it does surprise me.
Yeah, because even me, it's like, I was expecting a song, but there's a lot of passion, a lot of emotion behind it. You can tell that there's a deeper meaning behind it, and having you just told us about your experience, it all connects. So, Drew, can you just a little bit tell me about, give me a bit of background information about you?
Okay, sure. Well, I'm an 18-year-old first-year student at the University of Toronto, Mississauga. I was born in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I've been living in Canada for the past 9 years. So I'm able to play guitar, drums, and aside from playing instruments, I also songwrite, as you know already by now.
And how does it feel? Because there's so many different ways that people can make a change in other people's lives and help them, but you are doing it through music, and we all know the power of music because it can hit that nerve inside of you. What makes it different about music when you're helping people?
Well, I think music creates a story. So it depends on how the person interprets it, and it depends on what the feelings that they achieve, right? You get so many different types of music and so many messages. But for me, I try to stick to, being a good example for the society, trying to be a good role model, or just really trying to cheer somebody up. Even by the littlest things, I think that even those simple things can really brighten a person's day.
And at what sort of places do you usually perform?
I would perform at open mic nights, at self-spoken events. I have done cafe night for high school. I have done a couple of events that is, able to show my talent or my passion.
And the main message of your music is to do what? What do you hope to accomplish through your music?
I just really accomplished to make people's day. I really want to, turn a frown upside down, right, to really make them smile, as cliche as it may sound. But I think my whole message or my whole purpose is to really give back something that I know I take advantage of. There are so many people out there that are going through a lot of stress or like a lot of emotions, a lot of things that, would trouble you, right? So I think my whole purpose is to, to say that's not how it is, that's not how life should be, and to really look at life a different way.
And talking about the impact that you make on others, what has volunteering done for you? How has it changed you as a person?
Volunteering has changed me quite a lot. It's given me a lot of, it's given me a softer side. It's given me an idea that it's not just about, the 40 hours or like just completing the certain quota. It's actually really making an impact in someone else's life, right? I mean, I know I may not be like the perfect singer or I may not be like the best songwriter, but if I can give something that can change someone's day, that's already like very, very, up there for me. So number one, it's given me a soft side, and number two, it's given me a leadership skill. So it's something where I'm able to create connections, I'm able to create a network, and I'm really just practicing the way I speak to people, my professionalism, my way of speaking, that type of stuff.
Well, thank you for having you on the show. It was our pleasure, and we hope you come back one day because that was just beautiful, but we have to go to break, so we'll continue right after. Welcome back to I Care, I Volunteer on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Alima Hotaki. I am now joined by Laurie Plady, the Public Relations Manager for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Peel, and Nikita Bazin, who is a volunteer at Big Brother Big Sisters of Peel. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you doing?
Great.
So let me begin with actually your organization, Big Brothers Big Sisters. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Basically, we're a mentoring organization for children that are between the ages of 6 to 17. And we have 8 different mentoring programs, all with varying time commitments to best suit the child and the volunteer. And we make great differences in lots of children and youth lives.
And how did Big Brothers Big Sisters get involved with Volunteer MBC?
We've been a member since I can remember, for over 20 years now, and it's great for us. We have many referrals from Volunteer MBC, so we're very fortunate that way.
And how has it benefited your organization?
We have 240 children that are on our waiting list right now. So every resource that we have, which Volunteer MBC is one of our best resources for getting new volunteers, it helps us to meet that need for the children and their families in our community that are in need.
Oh, wow. Well, Nikita is one of those people who has been helping out at this organization for around 5 years now.
I'd say it's 5 years, yeah.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started and why you kept at it for so long?
Well, honestly, the first reason was because you know how we have a certain amount of hours to complete in high school? Yeah. So I was just at the cusp of almost not completing them. And I remember my friend telling me about Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I was like, oh, that's, you know, it's interesting. It's 1 or 2 hour commitment a week, so I'll go ahead and join. And then I think the reason I decided to stay on was, I think the first couple of months when you're volunteering, you don't really realize the amount of impact that you have. But, for example, I do the in-school mentoring where I mentor a child who's 10 years old once a week for 1 hour. And within that hour, we do both recreational activities, and if he ever needs help with, you know, tutoring or just like any other issues he's going to, we talk about it. And I think after the first few months when I first started volunteering with him, and his teacher told me that she could notice a difference before I came and after I dropped him off, just in the classroom environment. He was more calm, more friendlier towards the students, just more upbeat. And I think you don't realize how much of your difference you're making until you get that type of feedback. So yeah, as cliche as that sounds, it felt nice to hear that you can make a difference in someone's life, even if it's just 1 hour a week.
And was it with you in terms of your younger brother, the little brother, was it an immediate bond?
I wouldn't say it was an immediate bond, because when I first met him, he was very closed off. And he was suffering through certain problems both in school and home. So I think he was just kind of afraid, because when you see an adult figure coming into your life, you think that they're that person who's going to start asking you questions, you know, telling you should do this and that, where I think kids just kind of need someone to talk to. You know what I mean? Like, even when I was growing up and like you have your parents telling you certain things to do, you're like, okay, I've heard it. But I think kids just need someone to be there to just hear their problems for a while and then offer some type of, you know, guidance and things like that. So once I think he was comfortable talking to me, that's when the relationship started getting better. But at first, I would honestly just listen to him without offering like any form of advice. I would just let him open up for that hour. And then when I felt like I should say something, then I offered my advice. So.
And when you went into post-secondary school, how did you manage to keep the volunteerism alive and at the same time focus on your studies and other commitments?
Well, I think I wanted to be a well-rounded student. I don't really want to be that type of student who just spends a majority of my time, you know, studying. I wanted to just overall make myself a well-rounded student and kind of experience things outside of the academic environment. And I think volunteering helps with that type of thing. So, yeah.
And why do you think volunteering is so important?
I think especially for post-secondary students, it's a great opportunity for them to gain some new skills, especially for those students that are going into things like social work, child and youth work, concurrent education. We have several post-secondary students who are volunteering with us, mainly in our in-school mentoring program, our Go Girls program, and Game On programs, and as well as our conversation club. And they're gaining really valuable skills that will benefit them for later in life when they're seeking employment.
That's so true. That's so true, because we often just, and also aside from like some of the economic benefits, you as a volunteer, it's one thing to say that this might help me if I'm going into social studies, this might help me get a job or so, but in terms of some of the more private, if that's the proper term, benefits that you as a person can get out of it?
I think just having, like I mentioned, just having type of feedback from a student, it just makes you feel good. just that you could be that person for 1 hour a week who could have just changed their whole entire day. Like they came to school and they were super upset, and then in that 1 hour they're back in the classroom interacting with their teachers, just having more of a positive outlook on life. So thinking that you can do that in the 1 hour is just, it makes a huge difference. And I think in terms of, like Lori mentioned, like it's helping you with, co-current education, going into social work, etc. I think volunteering actually shaped what I would like to do in the future. So I've actually always been interested in the field of law. And I applied to law school actually this year.
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking about, I don't have to declare what, I still have time to, figure out what I want to do in law school, but I think it kind of encouraged me to go into more human rights law, focusing more on pro bono cases, just because I feel like there's a lot of disadvantaged people out there that don't have those type of resources, and I think it kind of shaped what I'd like to do for my future plans.
Oh, wow.
So in both ways, personally and
And do you plan on, even in your future, continue with Big Brothers Big Sisters?
For sure, if I can, especially like if I'm in in Ontario, yeah, definitely. I'd love to.
Oh, wow. And going back to the mentorship program, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We have the 8 different programs, so I'll focus more on the ones that we're most in need of right now, which is Go Girls and Game On. There's 7-week programs. Go Girls is for girls that are in grades 7 and 8, and it focuses on healthy living, positive self-esteem, positive body image, and the volunteers go in, and each week there's a different unit that they teach to the girls, and it's really nice because the volunteers in that program, they're between the ages of 18 to 25, so they can relate to the girls that are in grades 7 and 8, and likewise for Game On, same kind of basis, except it's for boys in grades 7 and 8. And it's just really nice because they can relate so well to those volunteers. And
if you want, in case our viewers are interested in wanting to get involved, can you just let us know what the website is, how they could possibly get involved?
Yep, it's www.bbbspeel.com, and they can go on there, download an application form, and it's all right there for them to find out more information.
Exactly. Okay, well, thank you for having the two of you. It was a lovely conversation, and hopefully your viewers got a lot out of it. Thank you for watching, and on behalf of everyone here at Rogers TV, we hope you join us for our next episode of I Care, I Volunteer on Rogers TV.